with Roundabout Cast episode 37, I think. Getting out of track here because time is relevant these days, and we're also behind on uploading. So it's like I have so many videos on my hard drive, at risk of being deleted accidentally, which I would never do, except that one time where I did. It's your host Willer, who deletes videos.
I am Bradley, a young blonde mage from Demacia, a land in which mages and magic is not allowed. So I got recruited by the fucking army, and they're gonna send me out on adventures so I can use my magic, but I'm not in Demacia and I'm still serving them. So it's kind of fucking cool.
Is this Summer Wars?
No, it's Lux.
Okay, all right. I was
why bullshit D&D character.
Why Lux today? Anyways, hi Bradley.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Joe, and I am Thou.
Thou art I.
I'm Tyler. I'm a slimy macaroni noodle.
Oh,
Ooh.
damn.
Ooh.
Cool. Well, this is the Roundabout Cast, the podcast where we talk about random shit that we've been doing lately. Still deep in the quarantine, so this is part of the quarantine saga.
Saga continues.
Hopefully it has a cool final boss at the end.
Man, I'm really hoping that Odichi-chan, who's writing this, really comes full circle with its themes.
Oda would never write us into... Well, actually, he would. He's so sadistic. Okay.
I said Odichi-chan, not Oda, but okay.
I know, but we know what you're referencing to. Hey, you know what's hot during the pandemic?
Yeah!
Tiger King.
Tiger King.
Everyone's fucking obsessed with Tiger King.
Tiber King.
Tiger King. Let's talk about it.
King Tiger.
Yeah, and so the interesting thing about this is so me and apparently most of America really fucking enjoyed watching this, and I do think it's really entertaining. I don't have a ton to say about it because it's not like we're, dissecting this
I got some
piece of art that someone made.
We could just react to the nonsense that is the Tiger King. Tiger King.
Hey, cool.
Tiger King, by the way, is a Netflix docu-series that blew up, and you've heard of it.
You've seen it.
Yeah, you've probably seen
Fucking
it.
Carol Baskin out here.
What else are you doing these days?
Goddamn Carol Baskin.
I was supposed to open with "Hello, all you cool cats and kittens."
Oh,
All right, restart the podcast. Hey,
All right,
welcome
I'm
to
ready.
Roundabout Cast episode 39. Hello, you cool cats and kittens.
Everyone, please dislike the video.
All right, so Tiger King.
What about it? All right. So I have some qualms with Tiger King, but we'll talk about
Shit.
They're not major qualms, but this shit's crazy. I thought, I'm not a big documentary person, but I put this on because everyone was talking about it, and I thought it was really enjoyable. But it's on the level of reality TV trash, I feel.
It is.
Maybe that's what's so captivating.
I think so.
This is like Netflix. I watch a lot of documentaries.
Me
I love
too.
documentaries.
Yeah.
Green Mountain is a really good one. I think it's Death Mountain. It's on Netflix. It's about anyway, not here to promote that.
We'll do documentary shout outs at the end because I got some.
It is, like Joe said, it is borderline reality TV, and the way they set this up is the same way they did Making a Murderer, because it follows, I feel like, that same flow that Making a Murderer did, where it keeps tugging you left and right. It's like, it is Joe Exotic right? Is Carol Baskin right? And it tugs you between these two people the entire time by withholding information.
And every few episodes, it's like, oh, we haven't even talked about big plot twist.
Yeah.
And then it keeps you hooked.
So it does a good job in that sense. It's very good at keeping you hooked by withholding information, but like Joe says, it does feel reality TV in that instance.
I think that's one thing that the documentary did really good, was that it made a very good story structure of what it was trying to tell. And I feel like the first 3 episodes feel kind of more like just set up towards this kind of climactic kind of conflict near the end, and it's very much it's more of it starts to get a lot of biases, I feel, during it, and certain episodes as well. The Carol Baskin episode for sure had a huge heavy bias on it, I feel, whenever I was watching it.
Episode 3.
Yeah, episode 3. The most the most memed episode of the entire series.
I
But
really
yeah,
feel like what should be taken away from this is if you have any bias towards either group, you shouldn't. Both of them were like cult minds.
yeah,
All three of them
All
actually
three
are
of them.
cult minds.
Because I think the less talked about group is actually the creepiest of them all.
yeah.
Yeah, the dude with all the chicks.
I believe
Doc?
Doc. Yeah.
Yeah. Doc's mega creepy.
Yeah. Made them
But-
all have breast implants. Ugh.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And they all are cult mentalities. You should not like any of these people. You should not. You should know that they are all bad people, except for 3 people in this show: girl who gets her arm bitten off,
Saf.
Saf.
the guy with the robot legs,
Robot Leg Man.
He's still,
And-
yeah.
and the guy who found the job listing on Craigslist.
Yeah.
All 3 of these are the main protagonists
I
in the
like
story.
I like the guy who was Joe's ammo salesman and then ran his fucking presidential career. That was.
Oh, I love that smash cut.
He was like, that was the worst job of
Worst-
my life.
Yeah. It was like Joe's like, oh man, we're gonna do so much different. We're gonna make a difference out here. And then it says that those were the worst years of my life working for Joe Exotic.
Yeah,
I
there's
was
some good. There's some good edits.
Mhm.
This is the kind of document. So this documentary, they came in to film something about the tigers, and they came out with a completely different story. They're like, oh, there's a way more interesting story if you just turn the camera a couple degrees to the right.
180 degrees.
But it's kind of interesting that they also profit off these dying captive tigers and don't really do anything about the situation. While that was their start. It's poetic. It rhymes. Everyone,
Yeah.
everyone makes money off these tigers.
It's strange too because like that was the other thing about this series is that this like a lot of documentaries I feel like they go in trying to I guess push a message or like kind of be like here's what's happening in the world right now, here's something you need to understand and think about or see if you can make a difference about. Sometimes it's not necessarily so, but like this series felt so much like just reality television and just kind of observing a story. It's much more closer to like a murder mystery story or documentary than like an environmental story. But like they're meshed together, and I think it's very interesting.
If I could give my critiques of this, I was not captivated by this like most people. I actually struggled to get through some of those middle episodes. I think this is getting the Rona boost.
Yeah,
Which is just like people have nothing to do and there's a lot of Twitter discourse over this. So that's my daily like socializing with people. So I have to do it. Meanwhile, I mean, I'm well prepared for such situation. So it's like, but also like Tyler was saying, I watch a good chunk of documentaries and this, I don't know. From episode 1, I got it. I was like, the thing about documentaries is that there's actual twists and turns where it's like, I literally can't believe this is happening. As soon as like episode 1 ends, I'm like, anything they say Joe did is not outside the bounds of what he did. Like, he is a crazy meth head. Like, sure, you can. He tried to murder Carol. Yeah, duh. Like, his boyfriends weren't actually gay. Yeah, duh. Like,
yeah.
Like, none of it was particularly surprising, so I just kind of coasted along. And it was okay. I liked it.
The biggest shock to me was the guy accidentally killing himself in the office.
No.
No?
He's like, look, it's not loaded.
Of course. Yeah. Like, that's
Last
such
words.
I got to scare me.
Hot take, Carol did not murder her husband. I think I'm the only one who has this stance.
That's the other thing too, is that like I remember that episode vividly and going, this episode's extremely bias heavy against Carol. I feel like they do that because number one, I should mention that I still think she's on that level of crazy.
She's pretty crazy. No, she's definitely crazy.
Yeah.
But like it's like there's a extremely heavy have to like dive into this to try to almost villainize Carol to give some sort of sympathy to Joe, or to at least try to balance it out in some way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
because like, but like the crazy thing for me with Carol was that like she doesn't pay the people that work for her. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like,
that's-
Doc, that's called a cult.
Yeah, I was like, whoa.
She's also profiting off these tigers, just like Joe.
Yeah.
But like, Bradley, were you trying to say something? I felt I
Yeah, I
got
was
an
gonna
energy
say, like,
from you.
I don't think she killed her husband. Like, I'm not sitting here like, oh my god, I can't believe she killed her cousin. But if it came out that she did, I wouldn't be super surprised. I'd be like, okay.
Yeah.
But
Okay,
I
yeah.
am worried
Sure.
for her though,
So-
because I'm like, millions of people watch this, and then some motherfucker is gonna be like, I'm gonna go dig up her fucking septic tank.
The septic tank.
But at the same time, I'm like, yo, these people do deserve harassment. They are all cult minds holding large cats on captivity.
The opposite happened. Carol's gonna get a lot of shit. Joe has fans now. Joe has like petitions to get him out of jail.
Joe also got Rona.
Oh yeah, that's true.
He really?
Joe did
Yeah,
get
Joe got Rona.
Joe got Rona. Oh, it's nothing to laugh about, but also it's kind of fun.
So the husband did vanish, right? That's like
So
actually.
that's the thing. He said he wanted to vanish, and then he vanishes, and then the dude's like, he wouldn't park his car there if he was gonna vanish." Is a dude who's going to vanish his mindset really that easy to follow? Like, and
Like-
then he changed his will so if he vanish, Carol will get the money. It seems more like Carol talked this guy into vanishing, and this guy's like, "I'm gonna be free from this crazy woman." All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Probably like South America with some like Nazi scientists.
He
No,
watched
he went
this
to Venezuela.
documentary. He watched this documentary in Costa Rica, just
Yeah.
cackling.
But yeah, like that was the most interesting part of the documentary for me. I'm like, stop it, full stop. I don't care about these characters anymore. I want to focus on this murder mystery.
Yeah,
Like,
I was only there
that's
for an
all I
episode.
want.
Yeah.
And I hope he did. I hope he isn't dead. Like, if he real like, here's the thing. Everyone's like, "Oh, he gave away millions of dollars." I'm like, he probably had millions more stashed down in the country, Costa Rica or Venezuela, where he kept going back and forth from.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
That's just his settlement. So, like, think of it this way: you want to get a divorce, or you want to disappear and just leave behind like 3 million, and you hold on to like 20 million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
He's
About
hanging
that-
out with Tupac for sure.
Yeah. Hologram Tupac.
No, the real one who's hiding somewhere.
I hope he
I,
did vanish.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want anyone to die. But yeah, Doc Antle.
Doc
Just
is
like,
He
fucked.
can die.
Yeah. I got nothing. Because at least I like all you cool cats and kittens, and Joe has like some charm to him. Doc is just like, ooh, this guy's just
Doc-
creepy.
What makes Doc crazy is that so the thing about Joe's crazy and doesn't understand when he's fucking up. So you're like, okay, he's a fuck up. Carol has some sort of sweetness to her, so you're like, whatever. Doc is fully aware of what he's doing and knows how to make it look like he's not doing what he's doing.
Why in that interview where he's talking about the girls who works at his park, he's like, she's been here for 16 years, ever since she was 16. Why did he just keep shooting himself in the foot like a villain who knows he's getting away with it?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Because
tell.
he's been getting away with it
Away
since
with
like
it.
the 70s.
Exactly.
Nobody fucking cares.
It felt villainous.
Nobody cares.
And then he kept defending Joe too, but then also ridiculing him when he got caught. Like it was.
And to prove it's a cult mindset, look at how creepy Doc is. And they go and interview one of his ex-workers.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
she sits there and praises him. She's like, yeah, everything was fine. You know, like I had to get implants and I didn't know it, but I got a couple of days off work.
Yeah,
So it
yeah,
worked out.
dude.
yeah.
And
They
I'm
worked.
like-
They worked so many hours a day for like what, $50 or
That's
like
the thing. Like, I feel like at all of these parks, these people were working like insane hours.
And Joe had this thing of collecting the broken people of society, and then feeding them. Okay, I will say one thing: Walmart meat was where I was like, whoa.
I know, right?
I mean,
If you take the meat up to the register, they can't put it back. They gotta throw it in the bin.
Insanity.
And then you just go to the fucking bin and grab the meat.
And then he
Yup.
put that on pizzas that he gave to people. Like,
Yeah.
it's not rancid meat though. Do you realize how much product like so whenever you go to
Yes,
I go to
fair.
the butcher at like our grocery store a lot. So they put on it sell by, like it has package date and it's like a week later it has to be sold. dude, I take that shit home. It sits in my fridge for like a month. It is fine.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. Like,
it depends on the meat. It depends on the meat.
But something tells me that Joe is not checking if it's rancid or not. Like, you're opening up your chicken or your beef and inspecting it. Joe is just probably feeding it to everyone in a stew.
He's not paying it the same day that it's getting put into the bin. Some of it's probably been sitting there for a while, like in the hot.
At that fault, that's Walmart's fault for letting it sit out for a while.
My favorite part of that was the guy picked up the chicken nuggets. Like, shit, it's so cold. I'm taking that home.
Yeah.
I will say though, I feel like that's a smart way to at least feed his tigers.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a good way to, like, at least he went about, like, oh, this is a wasted product. Like, obviously some of it was manipulatively wasted. But at the same time, it's like, oh, you know, here's this wasted product. We can buy it for cheap or take it.
I just imagine Joe sending his guys in, and they just like scoop all the meat into a shopping cart, walk up and give them a fake or a bad credit card, and like, your card's been declined. Well, I can't pay for this. I'm sorry, and then they just walk out.
Yeah, imagine that like the 12th time. It's like, here they come.
Yeah.
Here they come.
You gotta think though, like, wouldn't Walmart have stopped them? Wouldn't they have been declined, like, service? Like, you can't come in here?
I would think so.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. That whole thing's fucked. Maybe they hit up multiple Walmarts too. They kept a rotation.
Maybe the manager was in on it.
Who knows? I want to close this off. Tyler, you got any good documentary recommendations?
There's one called Green Mountain on Netflix, I believe.
What's it about?
It's Death Mountain? Murder Mountain. That's the name of it. It's on Netflix, and it's about Northern California and Seattle's weed growing scene. So, talks about weed business on the West Coast, and it's basically this county is called Murder. It's like known as for Murder Mountain, and that's because this is like a county where all these hippies and like lost kids and lost children would come up to like find jobs in the weed industry, and people would disappear all the time. Sometimes like 30 missing people's cases like a year.
Wow, that's a lot.
And people just straight up vanish on this mountain. It follows some parents who like come to this town looking for their children and everything. It follows a couple of like industry, like weed industry people who are there before it's legal, and then like there after it's legal, and like the difficulties in that transition. There's some people who still grow illegally because according to some of them, it's not financially viable to do it legally unless you're like a mass producer.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's the Tyler Rec.
There's also another one on Hulu about like abandoned places. If you like abandoned porn or anything like that, you know, that's like a good Reddit.
Abandoned porn.
It's a subreddit.
Okay, it's not what it sounds like, is it? Okay, it's one of those.
Oh, it's like earth porn.
Okay.
Yeah. So similar.
People like abandoned malls and stuff. It's an aesthetic.
But it's not just malls like you see on like YouTube and stuff. It's gonna be like towns. Like there's this town in Alaska that's got barely anybody in it. Like I think it is just like a lot of abandoned towns. There are some abandoned malls, some abandoned like military bases and things like that. And I think it's just straight up called Abandoned on Hulu.
I'll have to check those out because I feel on a documentary kick right now.
Yeah,
documentary I watched in Indiana, or at least half of it, about people that are sexually attracted to objects. That's a interesting watch.
That's a ninja sex party song.
Yeah, but there is a real life documentary. Like, there's a girl in love with a plane, a girl in love with a certain attraction ride in Germany.
Oh yes. They got a divorce, by the way.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, she divorced it.
That one's a wild ride. I would recommend. I think it's on YouTube, all of it. I don't remember what it's called.
I got some if people are looking for recommendations.
Hurt me up, fam.
You talked about Making a Murderer. I think that's a really good place to start you're not into documentaries as much. It's like it's like pretty slow, but it's fascinating because there's so many Phoenix Wright style plots and twists and obstructions of justice and literal like turnabout moments. It's fascinating to watch. Season 1 in particular, season 2 is not as interesting, but it does a good job of showing you like all this evidence that comes to light. The story is unbelievable as you get deeper and deeper into it. Another one I would recommend is Wild Wild Country, which is about a Oregon-based cult that was there in the 80s that were pretty much domestic terrorists.
I love cults.
Led by what was his name, Rajneesh or something. He's like a Indian guru guy who just attracted all these hippie kids into this cult, and then they murdered people, and then they danced weird, and it's really good. It's like 6 episodes, also on Netflix. And then finally The Jinx, which I don't recall what The Jinx is on. I watched it on like Daily Motion or something, but it's probably on somewhere. The Jinx is really good. It is a murder mystery that has maybe the best ending to any documentary I've seen. Ooh. I don't want to spoil it, but like the last couple of scenes of that documentary will leave you with your mouth wide open. It's
That's a Robert Durst.
Yes, it's about Robert Durst and how he murdered potentially his wife, a neighbor, and a friend. And then it ends with this interview with him that goes places.
Cool.
It's
on Hulu, by the way.
There you go.
I have like 2 more just to quickly throw out. I like got on my Netflix list. The Chef Show, if you want something lighthearted and fun. It's based off of the movie Chef, with Jon Favreau in it. So there's the movie called Chef, and he becomes a chef in a food truck. But then he just made the Chef Show, which is a documentary, after it, which has celebrities come on. So like a little bit similar to comedians and cars getting coffee.
It's a good vibe.
Oh shit! Sorry, I'll just throw that one out. Oh, what is it? Oh, the History Comedy on Hulu. It's fantastic if you love stand-up comedy.
Yeah. Well, all right. There's our Tiger King / documentary talk. I just saw on Reddit some guy dressed his kid up as Joe Exotic with 2 little tigers. It's a plague.
Like real tigers or like baby, like stuffed tigers?
God, I hope they're stuffed tigers. Yes, they are stuffed tigers.
Okay, thank God.
But all right. That's that.